as the Clinton campaign desperately tries to dodge new allegations.
All that's in that letter is innuendo.
It may not be about her server. It may not be about her at all.
And Donald Trump surging in the polls 8 days before the election and giving a grateful shout out to Anthony Weiner.
We never thought we were going to say thank you to Anthony Weiner.
How Team Trump is now looking to make up lost ground in the final stretch.
And terror on the tarmac as a plane packed with people is evacuated overnight. Fox and Friends First starts right now.
Costume people on this Halloween from the normal people. Good morning, everyone. You're watching Fox and Friends First on this Monday morning. Happy Halloween. I'm Clayton Morris.
But tomorrow morning we will see tons of costumes out on the streets when we're on our way to work.
Exactly. It's still overnight because they don't go to sleep.
No, they don't. I'm Heather Childers. Thank you so much for starting your day and your week with us. And we do start with this Fox News alert for you. The FBI under fire. Senate Democratic leader Harry Reid accusing Director James Comey of breaking the law as Hillary Clinton's email investigation ramps up overnight.
Yeah, the feds officially now getting a warrant to search the laptop of Huma Abedin's husband, Anthony Weiner. Kristen Fisher is live in Washington, D.C. following the latest developments. Good morning, Kristen.
Good morning, Heather and Clayton. Well, we're learning a lot more about what exactly is on that laptop and how it got there. Two sources with direct knowledge of this investigation say that laptop was used to back up Huma Abedin's phone multiple times, including all or at least some of her emails. The Wall Street Journal put the number at 650,000. Now, they were uncovered by the FBI office in New York, which is investigating Abedin's estranged husband, Anthony Weiner, for possibly sexting with a minor. Weiner allegedly handed over his laptop on October 3rd. The FBI then searched the metadata on that computer, and according to government sources, it turned up positive hits for state.gov accounts as well as Clinton's emails. So the FBI has had this laptop for several weeks. The question is, when did FBI Director James Comey learn about it? Now, Democrats have been slamming Comey for reopening this investigation. They argue it's not fair to the American people to put this much ambiguity out there just days before the election. So last night, the top Democrat in the Senate, Harry Reid, sent Comey a very harshly worded letter accusing him of breaking the law. He says he violated the Hatch Act, which bars FBI officials from using their authority to influence an election. Quote, "Your actions in recent months have demonstrated a disturbing double standard for the treatment of sensitive information with what appears to be a clear intent to aid one political party over another." Republican Congressman Trey Gowdy had an equally harsh response. Listen to this.
Thank God he's leaving is my initial reaction. My second reaction is I did not know Mormons use drugs, and anyone who is capable of sending out that press release has to be under the influence of something.
Woo. Well, today, Clinton will be campaigning in Ohio, and the big question is, will she address this growing scandal with just 1 week to go until the election? Heather and Clayton.
Wow. All right. Thanks, Kristen. Yeah, it'll take weeks at a minimum to get through all
that.
That
is never ending. All right. Thank you so much. The question now, what exactly is in those emails on Anthony Weiner's computer?
As if you want to know, and as Representative Devin Nunes points out, it must be something significant.
This has to be a substantial development. Is it possible that maybe some of these emails are part of the 33,000 that are missing? But I think after the several meetings that the Congress had with Director Comey, he was quite clear that the investigation was done and that he would only open it if there was significant information. This is Hillary Clinton's fault. This is Hillary Clinton who set up a private server. This is not House Republicans. She attacks Director Comey, which is ridiculous. And then she goes and during the Q&A portion, she says that some letter was sent by the director of FBI to House Republicans. She knows the game. She knows what's going on here.
Well, let's keep talking about Hillary Clinton's email bombshell. The Democrats praised Director Comey when he cleared Clinton, but now they reopened the investigation. They're back on the attack. So what's different this time? You can log on to Fox and Friends First, our Facebook page, right after the show for live debate. You can use that hashtag Keep Talking.
And we are just 8 days from the election, and the race it is tightening. Donald Trump gaining some serious momentum as he goes on an all-out attack on Hillary Clinton over the FBI's renewed investigation into her emails. Kelly Wright here now with what the Trump camp is focusing on this final week. Kelly, can you believe we're saying final week? Finally.
Final week, but finally not over. FBI Director James Comey dropping a bomb on Hillary Clinton's campaign. Her Republican rival Donald Trump, who once criticized the FBI to attack Clinton, and he's gaining in the polls. With 8 days until the election, Donald Trump now trails Hillary Clinton in the polls by single digits. The Trump campaign claims the FBI's bombshell seems to be causing more tightening in the race, showing some voters' reluctance to a candidate they can't trust. Trump is hammering away at Clinton's integrity.
Hillary has nobody but herself to blame for her mounting legal problems. Her criminal action was willful, deliberate, intentional, and purposeful. She set up this illegal server knowing full well that her actions put our national security at risk.
The FBI has now obtained a search warrant to start reviewing top Clinton aide Huma Abedin's shared laptop with her estranged husband, former Congressman Anthony Weiner, for allegedly sexting with a minor. Trump is driving the narrative that Clinton represents what's wrong with Washington and that his campaign is focusing on draining the swamp in D.C. if he becomes president.
I will continue to address and expose the criminal corruption of Hillary Clinton and its threat to the survival of our democracy.
Trump will be campaigning in Michigan today. His running mate Mike Pence will hold rallies in the all-important state of Florida, a must-win state for the Trump ticket. And Trump's wife Melania will appear on the campaign trail this week, delivering her first campaign speech in Pennsylvania. Clayton.
All right, thanks so much, Kelly. All right, we're going to get to a Fox News alert now because the deranged killer who sparked a massive 8-day manhunt killed in a shootout overnight with Oklahoma police. A farmer spotting Michael Vance in a field where he may have been camping out. And officers quickly moved in. One of them shot in the melee, but is expected to be okay. Vance has been on the run since October 23rd, when he allegedly killed 2 family members before opening fire on responding officers and then taking off in a stolen car.
Well, panic on the runway, a bomb threat from a passenger forcing hundreds of people to evacuate their plane overnight. The Spirit Airlines flight from Fort Lauderdale was about to leave for Dallas. Twitter video shows police boarding the plane, quickly removing the person who made the threat. But outraged passengers say they had no idea what was going on.
They left us on the plane for about 2 hours due to protocol. We were not allowed to get up, go to the bathroom. We weren't allowed to get any of our things.
Well, passengers eventually were loaded onto buses until the all clear was given.
A vow to rebuild this morning after Italy is rocked by its strongest earthquake in decades. The Italian prime minister promising to restore historic sites around the city that were left in rubble after the 6.6 magnitude quake rocked the area outside of Rome. Look at these pictures here. Landslides and boulders tumbling into highways, blocking rescue teams from hard-hit areas in the midst of multiple aftershocks. Thousands of people left homeless, 20 people hurt, but no deaths have been reported.
So let's switch.
New batch of emails revealing a potential link between Hillary Clinton's campaign manager and the operative accused of staging violence at those Donald Trump rallies. WikiLeaks releasing this December 2015 email sent to Clinton aide Neera Tanden by a left-wing strategist. It reads, quote, "Just want to pass along this note I sent to Bob Kramer, who, as you may know, is consulting for the DNC and is close to Robbie Mook." Mook insisting Kramer has no connection to the Clinton campaign, as undercover tapes show him admitting to stage violence. WikiLeaks now promising to unleash phase 3 of its election coverage this week. Heather?
Well, this week, just 8 days left until the election, and the Clinton campaign rocked by another bombshell, yet another one, as the FBI reopens the investigation into Hillary Clinton's email server. A new poll showing nearly 1/3 of voters are now less likely to vote for the Democratic nominee. Here to weigh in, Democratic strategist Chuck Rocha and Donald Trump surrogate Joe Borelli. Thank you both for joining us this morning, very early.
Good morning.
Great to have you here. So let's talk about this. What's happening right now in terms of the polls and how they continue to change? So, Chuck, do you think this is a trend that will continue for the next 8 days in Trump's favor?
Look, in campaign world, you never want a surprise. You never want something that's unexpected because you build your whole campaign around what is expected. It's kind of like when you and your sister were in the barn cleaning it out and you come upon a snake and you jump back. Well, you send your sister to go find out if it's a good snake or a bad snake. But the whole problem is you've seen a snake. And that's what's happened this morning. It's because you have to react. The narrative's already out there. So that's what's happening in Clinton world. They have to pivot. They have to talk about their issues. But it's never a good day when you get this kind of surprise or any kind of surprise this late.
Yeah, talk about an October surprise. Joe, we can take a look at Florida, where it's been very close, you know, that state to swing state. Now we have Clinton at 46%, and we have, Clinton at 42%, and Donald Trump up to 46% there.
Right, and these polls are the ones that were polled prior to this bombshell coming out on Friday. Polls all across the country were starting to trend back into Donald Trump's favor at the end of last week. And what this particular bombshell does is just reconfirm the notion that's in the back of everyone's head that this family, this candidate, cannot avoid scandals. And this is a real problem. 8 days to go. This is exactly what the Clinton campaign was hoping would not happen.
And in a four-way poll, Chuck, a difference of only 1% between Clinton, 46%, Trump, 45%. Just 1% separating them at this point, Chuck.
Yeah, and I worry about what's happening down ballot. The lucky thing about a campaign is she's got the infrastructure together to be pushing out the vote. She has lots of staff, lots of surrogates working all across the country. And I think that Hillary's going to be good in places where she was up 5 or 6. If she loses 2 or 3, she should still be okay. But what about those down ballot Senate races where there's just a slim margin between the senators, like in Pennsylvania, in New Hampshire, in Missouri? I think that's where this new motivation in the GOP could really harm Democrats in statewide elections.
Particularly, Joe, if they ask them, the Democrats, do you still support Hillary Clinton?
Right. Look, this is something that Republicans have been sort of forced to answer for over the last several weeks. And it's about time where Democrats across the country really have to answer whether they want to support a presidential candidate who's under criminal investigation by the FBI. Someone like Doug Schoen last night, it had to be really damaging to hear Doug Schoen come out and really disavow his candidate of choice. It's a problem.
But there's another way that Democrats are spinning it, if you can believe it. They're saying that Hillary, at least one, is not under investigation. Her server is. Listen.
The frontrunner of this race is under criminal investigation by the FBI. And your position appears to be...
No, she's not, Tucker. What he said is he's going back to look at the server. That's what he has said. He has told members of Congress...
So the server is the subject of a criminal investigation? Is that your position? We're going to charge the server with a crime?
No, that's his.
So the server is under FBI investigation. Chuck?
Well, I think that's what you do when you're a politician. You pivot on something that's a horrible narrative for yourself and for the party at this particular point in time. The problem is we've only got 8 days. It's Halloween, and we've had the mess scared out of us, and we want to move on to an issue around what we could talk about that's a positive thing, and I think that's what the governor was doing. You never want this to happen. You don't know if it's a good snake or a bad snake, but by God, we saw a snake.
And Joe, what do you think about that? The server being under investigation.
The FBI doesn't run a travel agency or some other business. They run criminal investigations of people, not inanimate objects. The reason the server is being investigated is because it's a part of the criminal investigation of Hillary Clinton. And that's really what it comes down to. There's no other way to spin it. They're trying to play this like the WikiLeaks, where they're trying to somehow paint Hillary Clinton as a victim of the cruel FBI. But really, there's just 3 people to blame here. It's Anthony Weiner for sending out lewd pictures. It's Huma for not, being forthright on what she had to deliver to the FBI, and it's Hillary for having this cover-up system to begin with.
And 650,000 additional emails by some counts. Thank you both for joining us. Appreciate it this morning, and we'll see you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the time now is 18 minutes after the hour. NASCAR nightmare. What caused an out-of-control car to plow through crowds of people outside the Speedway? A combat veteran outraged after her service dog is banned from a flight.
Arguing back and forth, humiliation, harassment. and ultimately my flight was denied. The whole situation perpetuated my disability. It sent me into crisis mode.
The legal action she's taking now. First, some of your Halloween pictures. Our director Rusty went to a trunk or treat this weekend with his family. And Donna dressed up as Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz and says there's no news like Fox. There's no news like Fox.
Welcome back to Fox and Friends. First, plane maintenance records now show they're under the microscope after this plane burst into flames at O'Hare Airport. Investigators combing over debris from the burned out jet, looking for any clues that they can find. They say an uncontrolled engine failure caused the horrifying scene, sending parts flying, sparking a fuel fire that sent smoke billowing into the cabin. A few of the passengers suffered minor injuries in a rush to escape.
Well, an out-of-control car plows through a group of NASCAR fans, sending nearly 24 people to the hospital, including a 13-year-old. It happened after a race at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. Horrified witnesses saying the driver of the Chevy truck tried to pass another car and lost control in the crowded parking lot.
I was standing right behind that truck, the Chevy old-style truck, up against the fence.
I felt the wind go behind me, and then I heard screams.
The driver not yet charged. Well,
all right, so unfortunately, being told to pack your umbrella, parts of the country seeing more rain today.
Well, it was like 80 degrees yesterday for near Halloween. Fox News senior meteorologist Janice Dean is decked out in the Halloween latest.
Love it.
Wow, you went crazy all.
Those are awesome gloves.
I mean,
this is all that was left, right?
I love the stuff that you can find at CVS,
like the last
at the drugstore. Absolutely,
Yeah.
the
It's like
hat
a
and these
part witch.
gloves.
Love it.
This is the one time of year where I don't have to get dressed
It's
up.
like part Mardi Gras and part witch. Right?
I was going to say, it's like part Christmas lights, part
Absolutely.
Halloween.
You're kidding? Let's take a look at it. You know what? I think the big headline today is going to be the fact that it's going to be very warm across much of the central U.S. How warm? Temperatures 10 to 30 degrees above average, and that's going to last well into this week. Look at this. November heat. We're going to call this a heat wave because it's going to last for several days. Kansas City, 78 today and tomorrow. North Platte, 81 today. The average is 60. Look at St. Louis. It's going to be 83 tomorrow. I mean, this is summertime heat in November, so that's going to be the big takeaway. We do have a system moving into the Northwest and the Northern Rockies that could bring some inclement weather, so your kids will probably have to bring maybe an umbrella for trick-or-treating. Otherwise, the rest of the country looks pretty good. Let's take a look at your spooktacular Halloween forecast. There's your spookcast today. Little witches and goblins out there across the Northwest. Otherwise, looking good across the central U.S. It's going to be warm. You know, where I'm from in Canada, usually you had to wear your snowsuit underneath your Halloween costume. You're not going to have to do this. It's going to be beautiful across the Northeast. And then there's tonight's forecast. 67 in Fargo. That's unheard of for October, November. And then 86 in Atlanta. Again, the potential for some snow across the Northwest. And I hear we have some spooky candy.
So Janice,
my Minnie Mouse.
What's your favorite candy?
Oh, my favorite is candy corn, of course.
Candy corn?
Yes.
Oh,
You have to have candy corn at Halloween.
Are you lying?
Yeah, no,
Here's a
I
little
love
candy corn
it.
for you.
Yes, you don't? Who doesn't like candy corn?
I'm with you.
I don't understand the candy corn fascination.
What about you, Janice?
I love
what's your
everything. My
pleasure?
favorite, though, is the Milky Way.
Milky Way?
Oh, yes.
I'm a huge Reese's fan. So the Reese's Pieces.
And the Smarties. Remember the Smarties?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I love the Smarties, too. Nothing but pure sugar.
Heather eat the candy corn.
Absolutely.
I just don't believe it.
It's cool because they're like wax.
Right. It's like, yeah,
That's
it's like
why I like
eating,
them.
I don't know what it is.
Can I use this? Because I'm going to, like, take
Oh,
all
you
this
can use that
candy.
as the hat.
Oh.
Trick or treat, everybody.
And I love my Minnie Mouse ears. I said that my favorite costume growing up was Minnie Mouse, so.
Adorable.
Yeah.
Are you going to wear that for the full?
I'm going to wear the rest of the day.
I love that.
Yeah.
Are you
building.
guys the type that give out just like the tiny little bite size, or do you go all in with like the big bars?
When I was a kid, I would always get mad at the houses that I would go to that would just give out the little caramels or
Or
something.
the apple?
The apple. Who gives out
Who's an
apples?
apple?
Who's going to eat that?
Yeah.
You know there's somebody watching right now.
I used to
Wait a second. I give out
loved
an
to have,
apple.
and I would go back for seconds if they gave out the nice
Well,
chocolate.
feel free
All right,
to have
go to the
some of my
next
candy
house, all
corn.
right, Janice?
Here.
I'm going to be bouncing
Get
off
out of here.
walls.
Get out of
Can I
here.
take some of the candy
You
corn?
leave some
Don't
for
leave the
other
candy corn
kids.
out.
candy corn.
Okay, I'll just take it.
See? Now there's not enough for
Yeah.
some of the other kids.
Well, the time now is about 1:30 the hour. Donald Trump gaining momentum, but he's not the only one.
Republicans are gaining momentum because Republicans are coming back home. That's where you're seeing this movement in polls.
A closer look at the big picture for Republicans in the battleground states when we come back. The FBI under fire. Democrats taking aim at Director James Comey, even accusing him of breaking the law, as the Clinton campaign desperately tries to dodge new allegations.
All that's in that letter is innuendo.
It may not be about her server. It may not be about her at all.
And turning the tide, Team Trump touting big gains in the polls while taking aim at Hillary Clinton and the new FBI email investigation.
Clearly a very serious matter.
There must be something there.
How Republicans plan to make up lost ground in the home stretch.
And meet the 8-year-old boy who wants to give every police officer in America a donut. Fox and Friends First continues right now.
Because you are joining Fox and Friends First live look from the streets of New York City. A little, what was that, M&M in the background there? Yep, I'm Heather Childers.
And I'm Clayton Morris. It is 32 minutes now after the hour, and we are back with a Fox News alert this morning. The FBI under fire. Senate Democratic leader Harry Reid accusing Director James Comey of breaking the law as Hillary Clinton's email investigation ramps up overnight.
And the feds officially getting a warrant to search the laptop of Uma Abedin's husband, Anthony Weiner. Kristen Fisher joins us now live from Washington, D.C., following these breaking developments. Good morning, Kristen.
Good morning. Yes, Senator Harry Reid, the top Democrat in the Senate, has gone nuclear. He's accusing the director of the FBI of possibly breaking the law by violating the Hatch Act, which bars FBI officials from using their authority to influence an election. Senator Reid sent him a letter last night that reads in part, quote, "Your actions in recent months have demonstrated a disturbing double standard for the treatment of sensitive information with what appears to be a clear intent to aid one political party over another." Now, Reid's not alone. Over the weekend, Democrats have been slamming Comey for reopening this investigation. They argue it's not fair to the American people to put this much ambiguity out there just days before the election. But remember, these are the same Democrats who just a few months ago were praising Comey for his decision to not recommend charges against Clinton. So listen to how Republican Congressman Trey Gowdy responded to news of Senator Reid's letter last night.
Senator Reid is a political hack. Jim Comey is a law enforcement officer. He's not a Republican or a Democrat. I've had my differences with him in the past, but he's not a political hack like Senator Reid is.
As the politicians duke it out, the FBI agents are continuing to look at Anthony Weiner's laptop. That's top Clinton aide Uma Abedin's estranged husband, who's under investigation for possibly sexting with a minor. Two sources with direct knowledge of the investigation say Weiner handed over his laptop on October 3rd. FBI agents then searched his computer, which turned up positive hits for state.gov accounts as well as Clinton's emails. So the FBI has had this laptop for several weeks. The question is, when did FBI Director James Comey learn about it, and will he release more information about it before Election Day? Heather and Clayton?
You would think he must have something in order to go this far.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll let Hillary Clinton know exactly what they have, too. Kristen, thanks so much. Just 8 days now from the election and the race tightening up. Donald Trump gaining serious momentum as he goes on an all-out attack against Hillary Clinton over the FBI's renewed investigation. Kelly Wright is here with how the Trump camp plans to turn things around in the final week. Good morning, Kelly.
Good morning to you as well, Clayton. It's Halloween, and in the race to the White House, Hillary Clinton may feel like she's receiving a bit of a trick, while Donald Trump may feel like he's getting a treat from Director Comey. That after FBI Director James Comey dropped that bombshell on the election on Friday, the FBI has now obtained that search warrant to start reviewing top Clinton aide Uma Abedin's shared laptop with her estranged husband, former Congressman Anthony Weiner, for allegedly sexting with a minor. Trump is driving the narrative that Clinton represents what's wrong with Washington and that his campaign is focusing on draining the swamp in D.C. should he become president.
They found 650,000 emails. This could be the mother lode. You know, this could be the 33,000 that are missing. No doubt in the next 9 days, Hillary and her special interests will say and do something to detract from her crime and to distract.
With 8 days until the election, Donald Trump now trails Hillary Clinton in the polls just by single digits. It's really tightening. The Trump campaign claims the FBI's bombshell seems to be causing more tightening in the race, showing some voters' reluctance to trust Clinton.
What we saw this week was with the Republicans coming home with the Obamacare premiums, with all this news, at the same time while Donald Trump is out there laying out his vision for America, his plan for an urban renewal, how we're going to repair and rebuild our inner cities. All of a sudden, this race, I mean, we believe we're leading, but even the most hardened media skeptic says it's a jump ball.
Yeah, keep that in mind, a jump ball. That means that the race is possibly just starting all over again with Trump campaigning in Michigan today. Running mate Mike Pence will hold rallies in Florida, and Trump's wife Melania, she'll appear on the campaign trail as well today, giving her first campaign speech in Pennsylvania. A lot going on, guys. Just a week to go.
To say the least.
Yeah, thanks, Kelly. We appreciate it.
Well, a rally for Republicans, the numbers moving toward Donald Trump. But GOP strategist and GOPAC chairman David Avella says that he's not the only one gaining momentum.
No question Trump has momentum. And Richard mentioned the state by states. Even in state by state polls you see in this last week, movement towards Trump, just as you are seeing movement towards Republican Senate candidates as Burr makes his race very, very competitive. Joe Heck out in Nevada. Todd Young is up in his race in Indiana. Marco Rubio is going to win Florida. Look, the Republicans are gaining momentum because Republicans are coming back home. That's where you're seeing this movement in polls, is Republicans are coming back to the Republican ticket, as well as older voters and men are voting in higher percentages for the Republican ticket. There is no question right now. Momentum is with us.
And a new NBC Wall Street Journal poll in the battleground state of Florida showing a dead heat in a four-way matchup. Look, Clinton has 45%, Trump with 44%. But in a two-way matchup, both candidates stand with 46%.
In overtime, the name of the game in Week 8 of the NFL season.
Jared Max with Fox News Headlines 24/7, Sirius XM 115, here with some highlights, especially for the Panthers. They finally won.
Yes, congratulations,
Thank
Heather.
you.
They didn't have to work overtime. Half a dozen NFL teams, well, no, they don't get time and a half, but they get paid plenty well to work overtime. We kick off with a Sunday nighter in Dallas. It was a showdown between two star rookie quarterbacks as the Eagles' Carson Wentz and the Cowboys' Dak Prescott.
Just 8 days until the presidential election, and we continue our countdown series, Issues That Matter.
And this morning, we're taking a closer look at foreign policy, a top concern for voters.
Chief Washington correspondent James Rosen takes a look at where both candidates stand.
Was a knock at the door just like the movies. There's two uniformed officers.
For Jane Horton of Alexandria, Virginia, September 9, 2011 marked the dividing line of her life. That's the day her husband, Specialist Chris Horton, an Oklahoma National Guard sniper in eastern Afghanistan, was shot and killed by the Taliban. Record numbers of Americans watch the nominees debate foreign policy, but no one views that policy through a more personal lens than Gold Star widows.
There hasn't been any talk, barely any talk about veterans. There's been virtually no talk about Afghanistan, and we're still not addressing the issues.
Indeed, October saw 3 Americans killed in Afghanistan, and indeed, Afghanistan rated only one passing mention in the 3 presidential debates. Instead, the nominees sparred over Russia and who would be tougher on Vladimir Putin, on Iran and the nuclear deal Mrs. Clinton pursued as Secretary of State, finalized by her successor, and on the broader Middle East, where Clinton struggled to ride the waves of change during the Arab Spring. During the overthrow of longtime ally Hosni Mubarak in Egypt, Clinton urged caution, but she pushed for the military campaign that toppled Muammar Gaddafi and left Libya in the chaos that spawned the Benghazi attacks. Likewise, Clinton helped manage the U.S. withdrawal from Iraq that allowed ISIS to gather strength there and in Syria, and she failed to persuade President Obama to funnel weapons to Syrian rebels early on in that country's civil war.
She's left behind a written record. She's left behind a record of actions. She is relatively a realist, but certainly not an idealist who seeks to remake the world.
As a real estate developer, licensing manager, and reality TV star, Donald Trump possesses next to no professional foreign policy experience, and his first comments as a candidate about Mexican immigrants instantly plunged him into controversy.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime,
they're rapists.
A subsequent meeting with Mexico's president went fairly smoothly, but Trump's foreign policy stance have sometimes been contradictory, as when he denied that he ever said allies like South Korea should be allowed to have nuclear weapons, which he did say.
So North Korea has nukes. Japan has a problem with that. I mean, they have a big problem with it. Maybe they would, in fact, be better off if they defend themselves from North Korea. Maybe we would be better off. Including with nukes, yes.
Elsewhere, Trump has said U.S. allies from Saudi Arabia and the Persian Gulf to NATO states in Eastern Europe must start paying more to receive American security guarantees, calls in which some foreign policy intellectuals discern a Trump doctrine.
In Washington, James Rosen, Fox News.
All right, thanks, James. Now let's check in with Brian Kilmeade to see what's coming up on Fox and Friends and a busy morning. Hey, Brian.
Yeah, we weren't able to come up with anything, Clayton, so we're going to run a best of. We might run Thursday's show.
No, can you run one of the weekend shows? That would really throw everyone off.
Yeah, I mean, we just have nothing today. All right, if we do have to be pushed to actually do a topic, these are amongst the people that we're going to be talking about. Social media. Why is it that all those faces and all those names, the big higher-ups, the multimillionaires in social media, are all pushing for Hillary Clinton? That's where all the money's going, 95% strong. Does that have anything to do with the fact that the email scandal is not trending on things like Facebook and Twitter? I think there might be some type of linkage. We'll discuss all that. We also got a huge roster of guests as we have 8 days until this big election takes place. I don't think you should miss a minute of the show. There'll be a quiz at the end.
Absolutely not. Amazing, this 8 days.
All right, Brian. Hey, Brian, what's your favorite Halloween candy?
I don't acknowledge Halloween. I do not like Halloween.
What?
Do not like
that's
Halloween.
not true.
Are you
That
kidding?
can't be
It's terrible, terrible holiday. It's ridiculous. Come on. Anti-Halloween.
Come on. He's so full.
I don't believe that for a second.
We'll see at the end of the show what Brian's dressed up as, reluctantly.
Nothing.
I think he will be in a costume by the end of the show.
Or
Not a
nude,
chance.
apparently.
Oh.
All right. We'll see you, Brian. 10 minutes.
We'll be right back. Stay with us.
And welcome back. Hillary Clinton's WikiLeaks headache growing stronger by the day. Batch 23 of John Podesta's emails showing yet another example of blatant media bias. Clinton's chief strategist forwarding an email from a CNN source to aides and staffers titled, "Heads Up Between Us." In it, the CNN source alerts the Clinton camp to new favorable poll results, not yet released. All this as secret sharing site warns phase 3 of election coverage is on the way.
What does that mean? Well, a small newspaper making a big splash, issuing an apology for its anti-Donald Trump election coverage. In a long editorial, the Daily Commercial out of Leesburg, Florida, says that it, quote, has not done enough to mitigate the anti-Trump wave in the pages of this paper, and admitted that you, the voter, deserve better than we in the media have given you. The editors acknowledging a history of running national election coverage that was not always fair to the Republican nominee due to a lack of resources.
And a combat veteran who says she was humiliated by American Airlines is now suing the company.
Arguing back and forth, humiliation, harassment, and ultimately my flight was denied. The whole situation perpetuated my disability. It sent me into crisis mode.
The airline refusing to let Lisa McCombs, who suffered from PTSD, board with her service dog despite her paperwork and veteran status. Her lawsuit alleges an American Airlines agent argued with her, asking, "What is your disability anyway?" She's asking for unspecified damages.
Cute little lab. Well, now a Texas mom wins what is going viral with a costume that, well, take a look. It looks like a refrigerator until you open the door and then see her severed head.
Oh, nice.
Inside. It's frozen inside next to a box of waffles. And Alicia Williams' daughter sharing the killer costume on Twitter, getting tens of thousands of likes and retweets. Williams also won a $100 gift card in her office costume contest. That's creepy.
It's pretty good.
It is good, but creepy.
I waited up to the last minute to buy mine, so I went to the store, and they're all sold out.
Oh.
I'm going to be a little disappointed.
Yeah, so what are you going to be?
I'll reveal it tonight on social media.
Okay. All right.
It'll be frightening.
Well, look.
Time now, 54 minutes after the hour. Just call him the Donut Boy. We're going to introduce you to the 8-year-old who wants to give every police officer in America a sweet treat.
And pure pandemonium. You won't believe how far one guy went to impress a woman. It is 2 minutes until the top of the hour. Before we leave the House, here's what's happening for you today. Top Senate Democrat Harry Reid attacking the FBI as the feds get a warrant to search Anthony Weiner's laptop. Reid accusing Director Comey of breaking the law and trying to influence the election by reopening the email investigation. Jury selection begins today in the murder trial of former South Carolina police officer Michael Slagle. He's accused of shooting Walter Scott in the back during a traffic stop. And hundreds of passengers now at their final destination after a bomb threat forced them to evacuate their plane in Fort Lauderdale. Police now questioning the person who made that threat.
It's time now for the good, the bad, and the ugly. First up, the good. An 8-year-old Florida boy passing out donuts across the country to police officers as a sign of thanks. He's already given out more than 1,000. And next, the bad, and I love this headline, another dump for the Dems. This time, someone piled manure 3 feet high outside Ohio's Democratic headquarters outside of Cincinnati. And finally, the ugly. A man in China caught on camera sneaking into the panda pen at the zoo, all to impress a woman, of course. The daredevil learning the hard way that pandas aren't as always cuddly. You can see the animal grab onto his leg, but he did get away. Yeah, pandas look adorable, but they'll scratch your eyes out. They're a bear.
Wrestling a panda will not impress a girl. Take note.
All right, Fox and Friends starts right now.
Bye.
Well, good morning to you and your family. It is Monday. It's October 31st. This is the last long week before the election. I'm Ainsley Earhart. We start with this. It's a Fox News alert. Hillary Clinton's top aide is lawyering up now after the FBI does get that warrant to read more than 650,000 new emails on Anthony Weiner's laptop.
Oh, boy.
How do you get to 650? I think that's called the mother load. How do you have that many emails? What do? Sit down all day and just keep typing? Hey, no wonder nothing gets done in our country.
So is the Clinton camp now throwing Uma under the bus?
Kind of looks like it. Then Hillary Clinton and her team declare war on the FBI.
Look, you can't break both of these protocols and then leave it just kind of up in the air with a question mark. You owe people the complete information.
In fact, it's not just strange, it's unprecedented, and it is deeply troubling.
Yeah, back off, everybody. Is she the victim? Who caused this? We're going to talk about that.
Plus, with only 8 days left until Election Day, one of the largest newspapers calling on all Democrats and the news media to demand Hillary Clinton step down? Wow. Please, put something on. Your mornings are better with friends.
And of course, Brian, you always are telling people to put clothes on in the morning because you have that vision of everybody standing across America naked. But today is Halloween, so put on a costume.
Right. But by the way, not only do I have a vision, I got confirmation.
What?
Herman Cain right now is only partially dressed.
Wait,
okay,
what?
Stop.
Did he tell you this?
He told me.
How do you know that?
He said to me, I saw him in Atlanta, and he said to me, Brian, when you say that, almost every day I am getting dressed at the same time, and I'm thinking to myself, how does he know? Is that incredible?
It's incredible, yes. You're assuming everyone goes to bed naked then.
Right. Or you strip down.
I've heard enough. Let's move on. All right.
What a big weekend. So after the show on Friday. Unbelievable. We have a Fox News alert because we're going to tell you the latest on what's happening with Uma's emails. There are 650,000 emails that were found on her husband's laptop, Anthony Weiner's, and there was a warrant. People were wondering, did they have a warrant to read these? Now the warrant has been issued.
Yeah, apparently they had a warrant to look through regarding his sexting with an underage minor. But now yesterday, apparently the FBI did get a warrant. Now, here's what's interesting. As they go through the 650,000 email, and apparently the feds were working through the weekend to look through them. Here's what some feds think might be on there. They think those 33,000 missing email could actually be on this particular laptop, which would make sense because Mr. Comey said there's pertinent information regarding the Clinton email server investigation on the laptop. That would make a lot of sense. That would connect a lot of dots. That would be a blockbuster.
So what do you do if you're the Clinton campaign? You're stunned, you're flat on your back. If you're John Podesta and you believe the WikiLeaks stuff are authentic and he has not pushed back, they couldn't believe she was even doing this with a private server. So when this comes out, they needed a strategy and quick. Here's what their strategy is. Here's Robbie Mook.
There is someone who knows what's in all those emails, and that is Huma Abedin. Has Secretary Clinton asked her what's in those emails?
Well, Chris, the problem with what you're just saying there is we don't know. We don't know where these emails are from. You're making an inference that it could have been Huma Abedin. Your guess is as good as anyone.
I'm asking you a direct question. Has Secretary Clinton asked Huma Abedin what was on that laptop that she shared with her husband, Anthony Weiner?
She hasn't.
She hasn't, and that's unbelievable. They also say Hillary Clinton hasn't spoken to her #1 confidant on the planet, Huma Abedin, which is unthinkable and illogical. On top of that, I think we can all assume that Huma Abedin is the one who was married to Anthony Weiner. I think we can conclude that, who might have the same email and have all those emails turn up on her laptop. What I think is astounding is they're lashing out and they're saying, hey, James Comey, show me what you have. We want to see them. Really? Do you really want to see all those emails? And Huma Abedin has the right, just like any of you and any of us, to go and make them all public, all 650,000.
Well, Chris Wallace's point is, if she doesn't have anything to hide, why doesn't she just tell us what's in the emails?
Sure. We do not know for sure whether or not there's classified information on there. We don't know.
But they do know it's pertinent to the investigation.
Right, exactly. And she backed up her BlackBerry or whatever device she uses onto that laptop that belongs to her husband.
And it's great to know that Carlos Danger had access to this 650,000.
Which Donald Trump said he was concerned about in late July.
Well, wouldn't anybody be? But here's the thing. If it's not classified, what else could possibly be on there? Could it possibly show that it would prove that somebody lied to the FBI during their investigation, which culminated in the first week of July? That would be a crime. So
the sad part is about all this, the Justice Department working against justice, which is the word justice. The Justice Department working against the FBI. Yeah. They say don't go forward with this. They went forward with this. Don't investigate the Clinton Foundation. The FBI is saying, why shouldn't we? And the New York office perhaps is looking into it on their own.
And over the weekend, people were saying there's got to be a revolt within the FBI. And we've kind of touched on this because people within the FBI were upset with Comey because he said she did lie about classified information. She sent classified information. She said she only used one device. He said no, she used more than one. She said she had turned over all the emails. Meanwhile, there are 33,000 that are missing. So after all of that, he didn't indict. So now they're bringing forth this investigation. So over the weekend, all my friends were saying, this must be big.
It must be big for James Comey to stake his reputation on this because he's taken it from all sides. These are the ongoing investigations. As it turns out, you knew that the Hillary server was investigated. However, it was revealed that, Clinton Foundation, that's right, the FBI, after the server, he decided not to recommend charges in the server case, then in July, they started looking and refocusing on the Clinton Foundation to find out whether or not there was any financial impropriety there. It involved 4 field offices, and also the third regarding Carlos Danger, Anthony Weiner's sexting case. The FBI agents here in New York were looking through it and then realized, hey, wait a minute, we're looking at the metadata, the stuff that they can look at. They've got all these Hillary Clinton email server return addresses along with state.gov. And that's when the light went off and somebody said, this could relate to the Hillary Clinton thing. Let's call the boss. They did, and that's how we got where we're at.
And the metadata definition is they got positive hits for state.gov and HRC emails. Yeah. Also, Fox News has learned last night that there's simply, and Democrats would like to think differently, there is no way, none at all, that Comey would have gone forward without knowing something about what substantially is inside.
You know what's interesting too, Brian? The guys that you're talking about that were investigating Anthony Weiner's emails, they did call the boss. Guess who the boss was? Andrew McCabe.
That's right.
Who is the deputy director of the FBI, the guy who's affiliated with McAuliffe. His wife got all that money from McAuliffe, who's best friends with her.
And so all these people have been blaming James Comey. All these Democrats have been blaming James Comey. Look, how dare he do that? Trey Gowdy was on last night on a special report with Bret Baier. He's quite clear. There is one person to blame, but it's not James Comey.
Jim Comey's not responsible for a single one of the facts at hand. He didn't tell her to use a private server. He didn't tell Huma not to turn over all of her devices. And God knows he didn't tell Anthony Weiner to send sexually explicit texts to allegedly underage people. So Comey's not responsible for any of this. The timing is a direct and natural consequence of decisions that Hillary Clinton made. So I get that Podesta is upset. Brett, remember, he didn't even know about the email situation, and then he thought it had been taken care of by Cheryl Mills and Patrick Kennedy. So I get that he's frustrated. He's just frustrated at the wrong person.
So, so the question is, do you care? And a recent study says 71% say I don't care. Well, 29% says they do of that study, and 29% could decide this entire election. I thought it was also noteworthy that the Chicago Tribune has a columnist named John Cass.
A legend. He's a legend.
He's been around he's known as a really tough guy. He'll write on anything. He'll write on everything from the Cubs to what's going on in this election. And he said something astounding. Listen to what he wrote yesterday. Quote, think of a nation suffering a bad economy and continued chaos in the Middle East, and now also facing a criminal investigation of her president. The best thing would be for Democrats to ask her, meaning Hillary, to step down now. It would be the most responsible thing to do if the nation were more important to them than power. And the American news media, fairly or not firmly identified in the public mind as Mrs. Clinton's Political Action Committee, should begin demanding it. He is not a conservative columnist.
That's huge. So this is Barack Obama, President Obama's hometown. This is her hometown sometimes,
absolutely.
whenever it's convenient. This is her hometown newspaper saying that she should step down.
How many months ago was it that members of the mainstream media were talking about how the Republican Party, the GOP, should ask Donald Trump to step down, and they had all these machinations about how that would work. Now, ultimately, here her hometown paper
Let me
is
ask you
saying
this.
She should do it.
If she did step down, who would take her place? Would it be Kane, because he's already on the ballot, or would it be Joe Biden?
She's not going to step down.
No, she's not.
So that makes it easy. Oh, all right, so more later.
She's quoting scripture.
Listen, there's a lot of praying going on right now, no doubt about it. Meanwhile, Donald Trump going all out on Hillary Clinton over the FBI's renewed investigation into her email server.
And he's taking his message on a last-minute push in Michigan and an effort to win traditionally Democratic states.
John Roberts joins us from Grand Rapids, Michigan, with the latest from the Trump camp. John, there have been bad days and there have been good days. These seem to be really good days for Donald Trump.
Yeah, it's been good ever since James Comey sent that letter to the folks on Capitol Hill. No question about that. Good morning to you, Brian, Ainsley, Steve. We're here in Kent County, Michigan, just outside of Grand Rapids, where Donald Trump will be a little bit later on today. You're saying to yourself, wait a minute, isn't this a state that Barack Obama won 54-45 over Mitt Romney in 2012? I know you all had those percentages right at the tip of your tongue. Yes, it is, but the Donald Trump campaign is saying even though the Real Clear Politics average of polls shows that Hillary Clinton is leading by 7 points, they have internal polling that suggests the race is a lot closer to that, maybe just 3 points. So that's why Donald Trump is here in Michigan today to see if maybe he can flip this traditionally blue state red. Also, the race nationally tightening up. Take a look at this. It's the latest ABC News tracking poll, and we'll get another one today. But this is from yesterday. It's now just a point apart, 46-45. That is a net gain of 11 points for Donald Trump in 8 days, which is an amazing trajectory for any presidential candidate. Trump today here in Michigan will continue to talk a lot about the FBI investigation being reopened, all of the emails as he did over the weekend. And don't ask me where we were because I forget, but suggesting that maybe all those missing emails that Hillary Clinton deleted suddenly may have been found. Here he is in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Now the FBI has found, you're not going to believe this one, this just happened, another 650,000 emails. I think that's called the mother load. I think they found them all. But how do you have that many emails? What do? Sit down all day and just keep typing? Hey, no wonder nothing gets done in our country.
Donald Trump also very critical of the Attorney General for trying to strong-arm the FBI director to not send that letter to Congress, suggesting, without any proof, we should add, that maybe she's being bribed here, that Hillary Clinton is offering her the Attorney General slot should she become president. By the way, the RNC, Republican National Committee, very happy about where they are with early voting. Let's take a quick look at Florida. Republicans are up in the absentee voting, 64,000. Democrats are up in the in-person early voting, 41,000. The net more Republicans have voted, 22,290. Back to y'all.
All right, very good. John Roberts. All right, we've got so much on this Halloween edition of Fox and Friends.
Who's behind that door in the hallway?
Well, Monty Hall,
Is it a ghost, a goblin, or
Gomer?
Louis Gomer?
The congressman with a law background talking about where we go from here. Thanks, Congressman.
Great to be with you.
There you go. Glad you're up. Is Attorney General Loretta Lynch's credibility crumbling? The nation's top cop reportedly tried to squash the FBI's letter to Congress announcing that they're reopening the Hillary Clinton investigation. Why would she do that? This just months after Lynch's private meeting with Bill Clinton aboard a plane on the Phoenix tarmac that made her recuse herself from this investigation. But was she ever really recused? Joining us right now with his reaction, Republican Congressman Louis Gohmert. Congressman, what's going on between Justice and the FBI?
Well, it's pretty clear what's been going on for some time. June 27th is when the happenstance meeting on the tarmac wasn't happenstance. You can't have a happenstance meeting on a tarmac. And then immediately, July 2nd, Hillary sits down for 3.5 hours. And the very same day, according to the New York Times, friends close to Hillary Clinton say she wants Loretta Lynch to stay on as Attorney General. Well, 18 U.S.C. 599 makes clear if Hillary even indirectly indicates that she would like her to stay on as Attorney General, it's a crime.
You have a situation now where the Justice Department tried to tell James Comey before he came out with this letter, you better not do this, you really shouldn't do this, and he said, I'm doing this. How rare is that? How concerned should we be about how our government is being run?
Well, it's very clear. For a long time, the Justice Department has been used as a Democratic tool. You look back at '92, when 4 days before the election, Walsh came out and announced indictment of Bush's
Bush 41.
That's right. H.W. Bush announced indictment, and that helped them win.
It made it seem like that Bush 41 was trying to hold up his hide his role in Iran-Contra.
Yeah.
But in the big picture, I got to ask you about this whole election. 78% of Republicans in states like Pennsylvania are only going to vote for